Welcome to my team. Agora, Fernando, eu sou Fábio.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Traffic Talk on YouTube and Twitter. We're live once again with another match review, and well, it's one that sadly we were not expected to cover in the nature of the game. Leicester drawing with Manchester United by 2-2 this afternoon. We have Noah, Des, and a new signing, I would say. Mehdi is joining us today. They're all going to help me cover the game. Quickly recap the match for those who didn't get to see it or follow it. United took the lead after some excellent play from Daniel James down the right-hand side, running into Sports Fernandes, who poked it more or less off balance into Rashford, who can't be home. But it didn't take Leicester very long to get back into the match. Some rather lackadaisical defending to Harvey Barnes' shot, which wasn't closed down, allowed him to fire from outside the area and make it 1-1. United take the lead towards the end after once again, Ollie's substitution magic, bringing on Edinson Cavani, who set up a lovely goal for Fernandes, which you put United ahead with 10 to go. But once again, defensive frailties caught us out once more, and I did not deal with a ball from Isaiah Perez into the centre, which Jamie Vardy got a deflection off of Axel Tuanzebe to force the equaliser, and the share of the points. So, quickly, my synopsis before we head over to the rest of the guys is that for me, this is a match which I'm overly disappointed with the result. The outcome is not ideal, but in the way the season's going, the outcomes that could occur, there are plenty more opportunities to get these points back. We can kind of groan about it if we got to the final day and had those dropped points today would have accounted for that. Nevertheless, personally, we still have a lot of games to go, and we'll have plenty of talking points to cover on that front. So, first and foremost, I'll get to our regular customer Noah, who's always with me and give through the hard times and the good ones. And I wanted to get your thoughts, Noah, as ever, on what was not a very good result, but in the ideal sense, a point gained, 2 drops, but we're somehow still in the top 4 for now.
Well, I mean, as you said, that's the real positive that I guess you can take from this result. I mean, Leicester away, second place in the table before coming into this game. A point doesn't sound like too bad a result for Manchester United. And whilst their determination throughout the contest was impressive, Harvey Barnes and Jamie Vardy in particular, alongside Wesley Fofana and the likes of Wilfred Ndidi. But it should have been another United win on the road. It was sloppy passing from United and the defensive organisation, but in particular from I would say Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof at right back, which I really don't want to see again from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Hopefully, that doesn't really it doesn't really have to be forced. Hopefully Wan-Bissaka can come back in for Wolves, which is our next match. But whilst you're saying the goals were good, which is a positive as well. I think, Bruno Fernandes to Marcus Rashford for the first goal was exquisite. The fact that Bruno Fernandes was able to get that touch and play it through to Rashford, and especially after Rashford missed that early chance in the first minute, a lot of strikers would have dropped their head and, probably would have missed that one too. But, he's very cool and composed and placed it into the bottom right-hand corner. That, unfortunately, for Marcus Rashford's game was probably the closest he got to being that composed, because there was a lot of other missed chances. To be fair, the shot that he had one-on-one against Kasper Schmeichel that was saved, I think is more of a good save by Kasper Schmeichel, one-handed save to push it away from the goal. But there were plenty of chances for both him and Anthony Martial that really should have sealed the deal for United and taken home the full 3 points and extended their unbeaten win record away from home. But, as I was saying, the positive you can take is that Manchester United are still unbeaten on the road. The momentum won't be killed off completely because they've, the fact that the players, I'm sure, will feel like they could have won the game is a good thing to have against second place in the table. And it's not the end of the day. Solskjaer knows that this team can fight back, and all we have to do now is look forward to the Wolves game, and just keep our focus really, because this. As I was saying to you before we started, Ahmed, at the end of the day, it's better for Manchester United to drop points against these types of teams in the top half of the table than say what Liverpool did a couple of weeks ago against Fulham, drawing 1-1. So that's how I would see the game today.
Can't disagree with that at all because we have, a lot of tough matches coming up with the league and all. In fact, what's more interesting is that we have now got 4 consecutive home games. So our away form will probably take a back seat for a little while we have 2 straight Premier League games at home to Villa and Wolves, and then cup ties against Man City and Watford as well. So there's, probably plenty of opportunities for United to fix their home form up. But today, in the long run, not a very good result. Mehdi, first time on the show. Good to have you. I wanted to get your thoughts on the game. You obviously, I'm sure, will be disappointed at the outcome. And you wanted to stand up the defence on this afternoon's performance.
I think the defence was at fault for not the first goal because McTominay should have closed him down and Bruno shouldn't have lost the ball. But the second goal, it's terrible defending. We could have blocked the cross if there was more effort. Yeah, Luke Shaw. He couldn't stop the first pass, but Pogba, as you can see, Pogba could have got across quicker. And obviously, out of one of the 3 people in the box, Maguire, Bailly, and Tuanzebe, one of them could have stuck on Vardy because you know what Vardy's going to do? He's going to find a bit of space, get the ball, receive it, and then take a shot, and it'll go in. So we know all about Vardy. We should have just stopped the cross. And even if the cross still came in, one of the centre-backs should have been tight on Vardy.
In 2 minutes, mate. Come on.
I don't think Maguire is I don't think he's the man to take us forward because he's making too many mistakes. He's not consistent with his performances. And as a Man United centre back and captain, you need consistent performances week in, week out. If we want to really be back and challenging for the title and trophies, we need a proper centre back.
I can't disagree with that, but again, it comes back to my point earlier on that I feel like we are not a title contending side, especially here and now at this point of the season. Adam Middleton wants to ask me a question, but he also says that he thinks that Harry Maguire is the correct player for the job. Everyone's their own thoughts on that. For me, it's a hard one, but I'll answer that a bit further. He also asked me about my prediction for today's game. To be honest, I had no prediction. I thought we were going to struggle today, and probably if we weren't up for it, we wouldn't win this match, maybe by a slender margin of 1. So no specific score prediction from me for that, but nevertheless, what happens. Des, to you, how about you? How did you assess that game? And again, 2 points dropped. It's not ideal, but we have to take it on the chin, I guess.
Yeah. To be honest, we started really well. I thought we passed the ball well. We're fast. Coming from that win against Everton, I think I saw the guys. They were really, they were really up for it in the beginning. Then I think towards the middle of the first half, we kind of dropped off. Leicester had more possession. I think there was a point in the first half, Leicester were on 60-something% possession and United were on 30-something. So, we kind of dropped off then. Then we scored that goal. Then just before, we're kind of picking up momentum, Maguire did that, which so many fans right now, I'm seeing on Twitter, so many United fans are not having it at all and they are blaming Bruno Fernandes. I mean, let me just give you a quick analysis of that goal. The ball comes in from Albrighton on the right. Harry Maguire was under no pressure, and he fails to control the ball well. Then Fofana closes in, and at that point, because he's falling down, he has only one option, and that option is to kick the ball anyway. So he did just that, and the ball fell into Bruno, who, to be fair, he should have, and Bruno Fernandes should have, be more aware of his surroundings. But if Harry Maguire had just trapped that ball and controlled the ball well, I don't think Bruno would be in that position. So, I think 80% of that consider that goal comes from Harry Maguire. You can always blame McTominay not doing his job as a defensive midfielder and all that. But overall, I thought we played really well. This is a Leicester side that just went to high flying Tottenham and play them from start to finish and got a clean sheet. I mean, not many fans would have agreed that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer after 14 games will be challenging for the Premier League. And to be honest, I think he has done really well so far. Being myself, I'm really critical of the guy. So I think Ole has done really well, and obviously it's onwards and upwards. Yeah, can always get better.
Yeah, I can't disagree again much of what you say. I can't. Well, I can. Well, I can. Kind of. I want to interject a little bit on the point that Maguire hasn't been like has been a focal point for a lot of criticism this season. Understandably so. He's the United captain. He's got a heavy fee on his shoulders. He's got pretty much the entire world on his back after the year he's had. But there have been times where, yes, he hasn't been good, and there have been times where he has been disciplined, strong, and commanding at the back. But I understand again, fans are not very patient with him because they think they expect it to be world class now, and then tomorrow and the day after. I'm afraid not every game is like this, and with him, I have a lot of I still have a lot of patience for Maguire, but I still feel we do need another centre half. It's what I cried out for in the summer when we were consistently pandering about Sancho, but that didn't happen. When it didn't happen, then it became evident we were going to struggle at the back this season. And obviously, it's gotten a little worse today because we've lost Victor Lindelof. It looks like he's done his back again, so we may not have him for the next couple of games, even more. Who knows? But it puts a lot of pressure on Eric Bailly. It puts a lot of pressure on Axel Tuanzebe because they will have to fill in. And if Wan-Bissaka isn't ready for the next game, and hopefully he is, we will have to play three centre halves again in the back four. So will not be an easy task at all. So you guys, I wanted to ask you about the way the league is currently set up, because today's result, it's not ideal. We had a lot of chances. In fact, I want to talk about this first. We had a lot of chances in this game, but I'm seeing a lot of Rashford slander, and I feel like it's a bit misplaced. I understand he's missed a few chances, and the two key opportunities he missed, the header in the first half and the opportunity when he's one-on-one with Schmeichel, which he should have buried, but more or less it was a very good save from the goalkeeper. Those two opportunities, yes, on a good day he scores them, gets a hat-trick. But unfortunately, he didn't today. And I still don't understand the consistent slander, the frustration fans are giving him. So, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts. While he's done so much good off the pitch, and on the pitch he's improving his goal tallies, getting better and better. He got a 50th goal in the league for United in his career today. Do you think, though, he could still make that step up because he's only 23 and he's got I think, unlike most, he's got plenty of time to make the jump?
I mean, I'll take this one. I'll take this one. As you were saying, Marcus Rashford, he's 23 years old, and he scored his 50th goal for Manchester United today. A fantastic finish, and fans shouldn't take that away from him. First of all, what people need to realise is that whilst Marcus Rashford, yes, he did miss some chances. Obviously, one of them was an excellent save, I think, in my opinion, from Kasper Schmeichel to deny him from the one-on-one chance. I think in the 50th or 60th minute, and he could have scored a couple other chances as well, but at 23 years old, 50 Premier League goals for Manchester United already. And the fact that people need to realise as well, he's much more of a natural left winger that cuts inside and, puts crosses into the box as well as a combined effort rather than playing up top. He was having to do that because, obviously the defensive issues and the injuries was, it suited to have two strikers, if you will, up front today. And whilst Marcus Rashford can play there, you can clearly see he's not the type of person to jump in the box and like win a header as we saw in the first minute. That's someone more like Edison Cavani and potentially a new striker that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer probably needs to find and sign. And that's my thing as well. Whilst Marcus Rashford missed those chances, I think the main problem for United there, as Des was saying, is in the defence. Manchester United will not win a league conceding that many goals and having that much inconsistency in the back line. The saying always goes, if you want to win something, you build from the back. And, whilst I think I agree with you, Ahmed, that Harry Maguire, he can be in a title-winning defence. I do believe that. But he needs a partner. Eric Bailly is not only injury-prone, he's too inconsistent. I mean, some of his clearances today, I didn't know whether they were going to go out, for a throw-in calmly or whether they're going to go in the back of the net. It's just too much. Like, whilst it's fine for him, the defenders around him don't feel comfortable. David De Gea's form has dropped off recently because of it, because he doesn't know whether his defenders are actually going to get to the ball to close it down, as we saw with Scott McTominay today for the first goal. So obviously his form is dropping because of it. It's happened to Dean Henderson against Sheffield United. It needs sorting out. And whilst I will admit, some people who want to defend the defence and say, we had a centre back like Victor Lindelof playing out of position at right back, and yes, we did. But if you're playing for Manchester United, you should be able to play anywhere in your kind of unit. No. If you're good enough, and clearly, as we saw today with Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire, those two together on the same side, it doesn't work. So Ollie needs to find something, whether that's, as I was saying before, it's quite a risky decision. But if the club don't want to give him the money to sign a top class centre half, whether they bring through someone like Tiedemann Mengi from the youth academy, give him a chance to prove himself, or if the board, Ed Woodward and co are going to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer some money, give it him to either get A, in my opinion, someone like David Alaba, or B, go and get the finished product like a David Upamecano, or get the Pogba situation sorted and go get Rafael Varane like a swap deal. You can do these things. Manchester United shouldn't forget that. I can understand Ed Woodward's position as a financial man that whilst the coronavirus pandemic has affected their finances, but Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. They should be signing the biggest players in the world. And Manchester United need a central defender. And, the top central defenders, in my opinion, that are a good age and have quality talent in the world right now are David Upamecano and Rafael Varane. So Manchester United should try and get one of those players. And, that's where it lies for me, in my opinion, surrounding the Rashford situation and things like that.
I think the Southampton guy, Yannick Vestergaard, I think is a good shout. So far this season, I mean, he has been doing very well, and he's getting compared to Virgil van Dijk when he was at Southampton. I don't really see any of our centre back that is as good in the air as Vestergaard. This season and even last season, just watching him play. So I think Yannick Vestergaard is a good shout. Rafa Varane, we have to be honest here. Varane is like the golden boy of Real Madrid. There's no way Florentino Perez is going to sell him to any club for any fee. And Manchester United is not ready to pay 150 million euros for a centre back. I mean that's just not possible in this financial time. So I think an Vestergaard makes sense. 60 million euros, it could be a possible signing. Yeah.
Okay, Mehdi, how about you?
Honestly, I'd go for Alaba currently. Like, we can offer him a 2-3 year deal right now, but if we're looking at long term, I'd probably go Upamecano. Like, he's proven himself in Europe and in the Bundesliga. He's been brilliant under Nagelsmann, and I think he honestly fit our team very well. Maybe him and Maguire could be a good partnership, because I think Maguire, I'm not saying he's a terrible defender, he's a good defender, but these mistakes, you see before Liverpool bought Van Dijk, they'd be making a lot of mistakes at our back. So if you bring someone like the stature of Van Dijk, maybe Upamecano, it could maybe help out Maguire, and he wouldn't be making as many mistakes.
Yeah, no, I just to quickly add on that, I completely agree with that point, because as you're saying, when Virgil van Dijk came into Liverpool, you saw Joel Matip before Virgil van Dijk came in. Exactly. He was a hot mess. Very similar kind of centre back to Harry Maguire, quite a ball playing centre back, quite tall, quite slow as well. But when Van Dijk came in, it calmed him down. It calmed the goalkeeper. It made the goalkeeper much more calmer. Like, Alisson feels a lot more secure. I mean, then again, Alisson's a top goalkeeper, but when he was coming in, it made him feel quite a bit secure. And I think you get someone, a pacey, strong, physical defender like Upamecano, it would really complement Harry Maguire, and it would allow him to play his game much more naturally. So yeah, I completely agree with that point.
Well, I've had the privilege of watching Upamecano 3 times live as behind closed doors games and in other events like Bundesliga and 2 Champions League matches, most recently Istanbul. Against Istanbul, he was probably the focal point of that team. And in any case, the defense didn't work around him because he has comrades all from the same country in Kanate and Mukiele. Both of them all help him out, and they understand, they speak the same language. They work together to make that defensive unit stay strong and compact in any game. It doesn't matter who they play against. They're always wanting to be better than the attackers coming up against them. For me, it's a tap in. I don't see why this is so difficult, but we are Man United. We make it hard for ourselves in the transfer market. The Alaba thing, though, is very interesting. We're about to enter January. He's obviously denied a contract at Bayern Munich because he wants more money. He wants to be able to become one of the top earners at the club Rummenigge, Hernes, Salihamidzic and co over there don't want it. They won't allow it. They will not want someone who's earning more than a top player who I understand is Neuer, the goalkeeper, because of his, world-class standards and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So because of that, they've shirked it and said, no, because you've done so well for us, but we can't pay you more than this. So he's decided to up sticks this year. And I don't know, maybe it'll lead to a dramatic U-turn. He may end up signing a deal out of nowhere because the club don't want him to leave and he's seeing how important he is. But they've got so much depth at centre back anyway in Germany. So, the Bundesliga is a good proving ground for talent like Alaba and Upamecano, Sancho, and a few others who've come up recently, like Musiala at Bayern Munich. These guys are good examples. I think we could see ourselves in the race for Alaba, but it's a tall order with the finances involved. And I heard The Athletic recently report that there's quite a lot that is involved to get him to move clubs, not just financially, but also because of the new rules that are coming here from the 1st of January. It's going to get very much harder for European players to come in England, and it's a test. It'll be very hard. But Vestergaard, looking at him, I don't know. He's an injury-prone defender who's had a very hard career, and I don't know. I just have doubts with him. If he does come to United, he just adds more height in the team. Makes sense. But with Upamecano and Alaba, you have almost two of the same player. Pacey, quick on the ground, able to get in tackles early and deal with probably help in the attack as well because they burst forward quite well. Particularly with Alaba's experience as left fullback, he's able, and left mid as well at times. He's able to make those runs into midfield and then start dictating the play from there. So, although he doesn't play with Thiago now, they complemented each other brilliantly at Bayern Munich last season and the year before that. Because when they were both in the team, sometimes the team ticked around the pair of them. So Alaba's a shout. It will cost a lot to get him. It will be almost astronomical wages he'll be on as well. And I don't think Manchester United are going down that route anytime soon. Upamecano is probably the best shout, but we'll have to wait and see if it's going to be in January or in the summer. Ozcan Kabak, I think is how you pronounce it. The first name is a hard one for me to remember, but Ozan Kabak is how you pronounce it. He's the short-term quick fix, apparently, that United are chasing also from the Bundesliga. But with Schalke at the bottom of the league, I don't know if it's a buy which we should go for because Schalke haven't won a game this season, and I'm quite positive.
I didn't know that. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
they have not. Oh, blimey.
They have not won a match in the Bundesliga this season. They are rock bottom of the league. I don't think we're going to see him coming to Manchester United. If that's
Abort mission.
Yeah, just listen. You don't want to know how bad things have gotten over there.
Might as well stick with Tuanzebe.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sorry, guys. I just want to get this across. Tuanzebe for me is probably the best player and it costs nothing for him to make an impact. He's probably the best player to come in and play that pacey centre half role because he's proven it already against the best in the world in the Champions League. So if you can do it there, why? And in fact, if you watched Everton the other day against Richarlison before he came off, I don't remember Richarlison getting on the ball against Tuanzebe very often. Anytime the ball goes out, you shot him out of the game. So it's clear he plays well against those sort of players that have pace and will try their best to outrun him. So
Ahmed, it's nice and all, thinking of Tuanzebe can be that defender, but we need someone who can make an impact now. With the time of hoping, this person can get to such levels. I mean, I think that time is over.
Yeah,
3 years now. Manchester United have not won a trophy. And we need a defensive leader. We thought that leader was Harry Maguire. Unfortunately, he's not. And to be fair to Yannick Vestergaard, your point about him being an injury-prone player is a bit wrong because he has missed just 4 games since 2018, since he signed for Southampton. That shows that he's a very, very reliable and a very capable defender. I mean, the number of times Manchester United have met Southampton, he has always shown to be to be the most powerful defender out of all players, out of all defenders on the pitch. I think I really rate him, to be honest, and I think he's not very expensive, and also he's 28. He's a bit experienced, and I'm not really carried away by the David Alaba hype. The Manchester United relationship with Bayern Munich has not been very nice. You can take our minds back to Owen Hargreaves and also Bastian Schweinsteiger. Two players that, to be fair to Hargreaves, he did very well in his first season, and from then on, he got injured and it was over. Same thing with Bastian Schweinsteiger, he never turned up. So I just feel Bayern Munich are giving us a player that if Bayern Munich are selling Alaba, honestly, I feel they know that maybe he's not the player he used to be. Maybe he's getting washed up. They are seeing that his decline is coming very soon. So I don't really know, how long he can continue to be at the top if he should come to United.
One big thing about Bayern Munich that people sometimes overlook is when they see players going past their peak and becoming much more incapable of keeping the level of quality that they signed when they're like, say, 22, 23 up, they will start to look at moving them on. The Schweinsteiger example is the best one I could possibly think of. United signed him because Van Gaal at the time as manager knew him very well. That's the personal level. That is, that's fine. On a personal level, great. But if you think about his on the pitch factor, Schweinsteiger probably played fewer games than he was in meetings. And I can't see why not. Cameron's taking a piss out of my Juve kit. Listen, mate, all my United kits from the wash. I'm not having this. The first thing I could grab was this kit. So just let me have it. And they're the epitome of defensive units. So why not? It's a fair point to put it on today. But let me just stress this. Bayern Munich will always sell players they think, as Desmond applied, are washed up or injury.
That's my fear about David Alaba. I feel they know.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
It's coming very soon, and you can't just wait to sell him.
Absolutely, and they will only spend big when they know they need a top quality player to fill that role, and they know they get good 6 or 7 years out of them because they've got discipline. A bit unlike United in some way, unfortunately. How they run the club over there is just poles apart to Manchester United because they stress them, the other players greatly. How important it is to be not only quality domestically, but they want to dominate Europe. And last season's the best example of that. Problem is, a lot of the players are above 28, some of them. So they are on the wrong. Some of them are turning
high wages too. High wage. Well, as you were saying with the Athletics report, that's the thing that's really turned off Manchester United from David Alaba. Of course, he would come on a free transfer, but do we really want to get in a situation like Alexis Sanchez, where we've got an old player who's potentially past his best, and you're paying him 450 grand a week because that's the wages that are being talked about. Because I mean, let's not forget. Speaking of a Juventus player, because of your kit, remember when Aaron Ramsey moved on a free to Juventus from Arsenal, and the wages he's on right now, isn't he on like 500,000 or something ridiculous?
Stupid money,
ridiculous wages for someone. And no disrespect to Aaron Ramsey, but he's not a world class player. That's what 400, 500 grand a week worth.
Yeah,
and whilst I think David Alaba, he could do a job, but do you really want to be spending 400 grand a week on someone that could, or do you want to go and spend 60 million and 150 grand, 200 grand a week on someone like Upamecano, who 90% sure is going to come in and be a world class defender and is going to bring everything that you want? But obviously, the problem is that as we were saying, with finances and everything like that, that is something that Manchester United are looking at. I mean, it's why they're looking at someone like Moises Caicedo for the defensive midfield role instead of someone like Wilfred Ndidi, as we saw today, or Zakaria from Borussia Mönchengladbach. It's obviously a right back. We were looking at Kieran Trippier instead of like a top class right back, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me. Especially with the work permit thing as well. If someone United looked at someone like Ben White or Vestergaard, because they're prem proven, they would get them straight in, and it just wouldn't cause any real issues. So I can kind of see that.
Cam, who's the regular host of these shows, stresses this by making sure he says it twice. Cannot come into our team on over £200,000 a week. It would destroy everything Ollie is building structure-wise. And as Noah stressed us now, I can't disagree with that. What we're dealing with right now is getting rid of not only the deadwood, the players that are not getting game time,
That's the thing
and
as well.
are on stupid money. You need
Marcus
to remove
Rojo.
those.
Marcus Romero is a
Romero. Who else is there?
Yeah.
Lingard. I know Lingard's a legend.
John,
But
Lingard.
all of these guys, these four particularly, Juan Mata still plays a role, but there's a fair shout of him possibly if he feels like it's not going to get any more.
There is still high interest from the likes of Galatasaray and Besiktas, and there's talk of them potentially being willing to pay the likes of £5-10 million transfer fee as well as get more books.
They're able to do that because they have this high, the fans over there just bankroll them in Turkey. Trust me.
Well, as we saw with Wesley Sneijder back, a couple of years ago when United wanted to come in for him, Turkey refused to pay the wages, and he went off to Galatasaray, and he lived his life over there.
Absolutely. So anyway, look, back on the defense, you guys obviously, and I'm agreeing with you on a lot of your points. You are all very annoyed that the current defense is not capable of reducing the amount of goals we're conceding, and sometimes overall performances are not good. And I'm not going to lie, I'm still rattled by how we were so bad against Leipzig in the first 15 minutes. It will play on my mind for a long time because the way we were playing in that first part of the match has always, made me think this defense is definitely incapable of not just European challenging in terms of the top level of the competition, but in the Premier League, mistakes like the ones we saw today for the opening goal for Leicester are part of the reason why we're not really title contenders either. So I would stress this. If anything, the impact a defender such as Upamecano would have on a United team is probably very strong. And because the finances, for us, it sounds so simple. But in reality, in practice, it isn't because they are so tight with money. Fernandes last year is the best example of this. Look how long it took us to sign him. It took the pressure of losing at home to Burnley by 2 goals still, a sobering result. And then suddenly United are put under pressure. They needed an impact. I only could tell that there was stress from the fans for something to happen, impact players to come in. Fernandes came in, made that impact. So while I don't like January windows because of how expensive they can become, because team building at that time of the year is not ideal, it's more of a time for players to be moved on, those that don't play or those that are just seeking a new challenge in that time of the year, that's the time for them. But for us to get a world-class player in January, you must be on riding donkeys, mate. It's not likely to happen. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. We'll cover this more, obviously, in a future show. But let's look a little further ahead now. We've obviously dropped points today. We are still, at the time of this show, we are still in the top 4, and we are still third, more importantly. There are other games today that can, however, affect our position. Chelsea play Arsenal.
Chelsea, Arsenal.
Yeah, and Man City can close the gap as well today at home to Newcastle. So there are some matches that can, Everton as well, actually, I shouldn't ignore them, who are directly below us or playing at the same time, away to Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, haven't they?
At the bottom of the league. So I'm quite positive we will not be third at the end of the day, unless Sheffield United turn up from absolutely nowhere and put a show in. But it's more
likely Arsenal will do that. More
likely something like that will happen. But with reflection of tomorrow, we should completely write off any hope of Liverpool dropping points to West Brom because that's a shoo-in. And Tottenham and Wolves is probably a threatening game on the fact that Spurs can actually, from where they are in 7th now, leapfrog 5 teams to go into second place. So we will not probably be in the top 4 at the end of the week. How we have Wolves next. I know we will have a preview on this, but I wanted to get your early thoughts on the next one and who we are looking at probably missing Lindelof. We are likely to see Wan-Bissaka back if he's fit enough. But our defense isn't at its best. We're playing against a Wolves team that are not on full cylinders at the moment. They're not the same team we feared a couple of years ago when they kept on somehow beating us or getting results against us.
Ruben Neves.
I want to. Yeah, last season as well. Ruben Neves were outside the box. Doesn't start many games now, in fact, surprisingly, which is very funny to see. And he should be someone I personally think we should chase, seeing as we're going all Portuguese in January. I would love to see him at United. But early thoughts on the next one, boys. What do you think? Do you see us getting?
I think Ruben Neves has lost his place to Leander Dedonka. I think Dedonka has played more so far this season. And just before we signed Matic, I remember Manchester United were linked to him back when he was at Anderlecht.
Yeah, he scored actually. Before he came to United.
Europa League. Yeah.
In the semi-final. Yes, I do remember. Yes.
Quarterfinal. It was
yes.
Yeah, semi-final was Celta Vigo. The quarterfinal game was when we were 1-0 up thanks to Harry Mkhitaryan. But he scored a brilliant header in that game when we were caught out at the back. And yeah, he showed that he had great height, great strength. He's come to the Premier League and he's continued that consistent play. I'm surprised we never went for him because he was, for me, a shoo-in. I'm surprised that he's not
same as Yuri Tielemans, as we saw today for Leicester.
It makes sense.
I thought he just a quick touch on Leicester's side. Obviously, we were saying that Manchester United and defensive errors was a big thing. We do have to credit Leicester today, and in particular for me, I think Wesley Fofana, that their centre back was everywhere, absolutely superb.
Yeah,
absolutely superb. I think for someone that's so young, he was very similar to Upamecano when he's at his best, and I think he had a top performance. Tielemans was completely bossing the midfields, like the wide balls they were playing out to the likes of Harvey Barnes, and as well I think Jose Perez later on to the game, which is when he almost scored from the free kick later on as well. I mean, I think he was offside for that free kick when he was played in, but still, I thought Yuri Tielemans, who's United could have signed that during that time when he was at Anderlecht with Dendoncker. I thought he was superb today. So yeah, I mean, we have to give them some respect because Leicester are, as we're saying, as of now, they are above us. They're in second place. So
we discussed it the other day. Now, where I said that this would not be a game we should expect to win by convincing margin. I expected us to really struggle this match. And the way they're set up, Brendan Rodgers is someone who will set a team up against us, especially to really put us in a position where we can step up one bit better in the league. And this team, I think, have a very good opportunity of not only being in the top four, but they don't want that Liverpool situation to happen again. So we hope to hopefully, in our perspective, they drop points a bit more and we can leapfrog them. But tough one. Cameron's back in it again. What have you got to say this time? Harvey Barnes was a problem all game. I'll say this though, Tielemans was a bit overrated for me. Agreed credit to Leicester for coming back 2 times in the match. Yeah, because it takes heart, and especially for a team that are they're still
as we've seen all season. When Manchester United have been coming back from behind against likes of Southampton and West Ham. For Leicester to do it against especially at home, because they're a team like us when they suffer greatly at home and they're very good on the road. Credit where it's due, I suppose. That they're
Leicester's home form is pretty woeful. 3 wins, 1 draw, 4 defeats, and they've conceded 12 at home this season. They are better than us at least by 2 points. So that's a factor which you can take into consideration. There is scope for improvement though for everybody. And again, because we got to give them a bit of a shout. They do well. They've blitzed their Europa League group very, very convincingly. I feel like they'll go far in the tournament, but I don't think that's where their focus lies this season. All of the efforts are really trying to stay in the top 4 and profit from the fact that Tottenham, Man City are dropping points. Tottenham, Man City and Chelsea are all dropping points. So for us, essentially, while we are still in the hunt, equally so with those 3 teams not really at their vertical best at the moment, it still opens up many opportunities for other teams when we drop points to cover the ground and start to build up a run again. But, it's damaging. Yeah, I want to get back onto the next one against Wolves. We have a preview for that obviously coming up. It's all right. But, we have Wolves mid-table. They play Spurs tomorrow at home. Last season, Spurs stole the points from them in a last-minute winner. But this year, they're not the same team. They're a very different sort of proposition compared to how they were last year. No Diogo Jota this time. I believe Ruben Neves is now out of favour over there. Over the Dendonka's playing a bit more. They are leaking a few more goals this year, and they lost to Burnley last time out before playing Spurs tomorrow. So, early thoughts on that one, guys. How do you see United faring against Wolves at home? At least improve the home form is the plan.
Right. I'll go first because then I'll let the other two, and then I'll shut up for a bit.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So you know, as you're saying, Wolves is. I think it's a bit of a misjudged game, like, as we're looking at it now. A lot of people are thinking, oh, you know, Wolves another kind of top 6 challenger and quite a difficult game. And whilst it could be, I'm not completely writing them off, and because it is at home, and obviously our away form is much better than our home form. Wolves, they have been suffering recently. They lost to Burnley, who are a relegation fighting side, and really lack to score a lot of goals. As I said, one of the few points recently before obviously the Wolves game was against Arsenal, and their goal came from a Aubameyang own goal. So they don't really tend to score a lot. And I think I think they scored 2 goals. I think Burnley in that game. So Wolves can be got at. I think that the likes of their fullbacks are in particular. I mean, Nelson Semedo has not settled at all from Barcelona. Which surprised me at first because I thought that was going to be a really good, a bit of shrewd business from Wolves. I thought when he was at Barcelona, he was someone who was underperforming for his talents. But I mean, I guess maybe not. I guess that's just the kind of player he is, just average to good. And he's very similar to I would say Alex Tellers in the defensive. Kind of like where he can get forward and he can put good balls into the box, but defensive wise, he can be really good. And I think that'll be a good game for Marcus Rashford to really get him behind there. Their centre backs, they've got Connor Cody, who I think Sky Sports put in 2020's best Premier League team of the year, which is fair enough. I think he's been superb for them, but I think defensively wise, they rely a bit too much on him to kind of like rally the other defenders around him, and I think. Sometimes as I was saying with the likes of Semedo, it kind of similarly with Victor Lindelof today, it creates a lack of confidence in the likes of Rui Patricio and Connor Cody. So I do feel that Wolves can be got at. I think Manchester United should probably, in my opinion, they should probably use the diamond formation, as I think they can really constrict the midfield strength that Wolves do have with the likes of Ruben Neves if they were to bring him on. Dendonka, Neto, who's a new signing for Wolves, he occasionally likes to drop back into the attacking midfield role to spread the ball wide to their wingers. So I think a diamond formation would probably be the best thing for you, for Ole and Solskjaer to use. And I'd probably expect the likes of Nemanja Matic and Paul Pogba to come in as well, because they'll bring that height to cope with the likes of Dendonka, because as we were saying, Dendonka is a very physical player. He's got stamina for days. And I think that someone like Paul Pogba and Matic could really constrain that. It will be a difficult game. It will be a difficult game because at any time Wolves can turn up with real quality. They've got in the attacking department. I didn't even speak about that. I mean, Adama Traore, who is one of the quickest players in the Premier League I've seen for a while. His strength is unbelievable as well. They've got Podence, who's a very tricky player, can score plenty of goals, and they've obviously got Neto, who is firing away. Obviously, he's very young, but he's very raw and very hungry to score goals. So we do need to be aware of that. Obviously, our defense is not in the best shape at all, as we've been discussing during this show. It's not. I'm not saying it's much better than Wolves. It's probably just a bit better. But I think Manchester United should probably try to constrict the midfield creativity of Wolves and really hit them where it hurts through their fullbacks, because that's where they suffer the most. So that's probably what I'd expect Ole and Solskjaer to do.
Yeah, I'll give my thoughts in a minute, but you guys, what are your early thoughts on the next game against Wolves?
I'll go next. I agree. I think we should play diamond because it will help combat the midfield, and we'll probably win the midfield battle if we play diamond. But I want to see Matic start. I think if Matic started today, we probably would have got the 3 points because he can help break up the counter attack. Because Wolves, with their pace up front, they have the new striker. I think they brought in Fabio Silva, Podence and Nero, as you said. They got a lot of pace, and Adama Traore, obviously, if he plays, then they can hit us on the counter every time. So Matic should be playing, and I think Pogba and Fred, or Pogba and Van der Beek, honestly, in my opinion, I think Bruno needs to be given a rest. He's playing 3 games in a row, and this Christmas period, if he gets injured, then we could be really our form can go down, because without him creating opportunities, it's a myth. But we have to be careful because Wolves, Neto, I watched Neto and Podence a lot, and against Chelsea they were unbelievable. But if Wan-Bissaka's back, then I'm confident. But if he's not, then we're gonna have to play probably Tuanzebe at right back, and Tuanzebe has got the pace, but Podence or Neto, whoever's on that side, has a lot of skills and trickery, which could be hard to deal with. But I'm going to probably go for us to win. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet because I don't think we've kept a clean sheet in the last like 5-6 games. So I'd probably
No,
go for
we got the clean sheet against City, but it was a 0-0 draw anyways.
I'd probably go for a 2-1. I think it will be tight. I don't think Wolves will let us score that many. They're good. Bolly, probably one of their best players. I think he's a superb centre back, and Cody as well. Them two, it depends though how Wolves play. Sometimes they play in a back 3, back 5, or sometimes they just play as a back 4. But I think it's going to be hard to break them down. But with our forward players and our midfielders, we should have enough firepower to deal with it.
Des, how about you?
Yeah, I think we should go with the 4-2-3-1. I think when we are playing with the 4-2-3-1, where we kind of have stability in the middle. I think Fred and McTominay, their form is is hard not to ignore and just throw that away and and chop Pogba in. I think at right back, the question comes now that now Wan-Bissaka is injured. We should have had a backup right back, and now the loaning of the fact that Diogo Dalot is loaned to AC Milan now looks funny. Now we are now playing Lindelof at right back, so there are a lot of question marks here. And for me, 4-3-1 looks very good, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to have the balls now to play Edinson Cavani as his centre forward. I mean, there's this quote that I just saw on Twitter from someone. The person was like, Edinson Cavani is same age, his age mates with Lionel Messi, 2 years younger than Cristiano Ronaldo, and yet he still plays. And yet these players that still play week in week out, for their team. So why is Edinson Cavani, deputizing for Anthony Martial?
Fair enough
I mean,
point.
Cavani is the greatest strikers of our generation. There's no reason why he should be back up to Anthony Martial. So I think Cavani has to start in the game against Wolves. We've seen how clinical he was against Everton. One chance and he got that goal. So yeah, definitely 4-2-3-1, same players, but Cavani starts.
Okay. All of your points amassed. I've been all this time. I've been looking at Wolves' setup. Wolves play 3-4-1-2, but very recently, Leandro Dendoncker hasn't been in the team through injury. Willy Bolly doesn't start many games, but I'm quite positive against United he will.
Yeah,
they've had this tried and tested 3 up front, but they've brought in a new person called Owen Osasowi, who has been quite literally surprising the Premier League since he arrived. Had a good performance against Chelsea off the bench, supporting Podence, setting up the. I think it was a first goal. Yeah, he's a very new guy to the scene, and he's a bit like I want to say he's a bit like not Fernandez to say. But he's a bit like Maddison. He's someone who keeps the ball close but can also run. He's got a bit of pace under him too. So he's a man to keep an eye on. And I think you can't underestimate him too much. But Neto and Perez cannot be ignored in the slightest. They miss Raul Jimenez too much. Obviously, it's horrible the injury he picked up against Arsenal, and we obviously wish him well. But more importantly, they will miss him tomorrow against us later this week because of how important he can be against teams who play against teams who don't deal with crosses or set pieces very well, like United do. So if he was there, he'd have been an instant threat for us to have dealt with. Neto and Podesta offer 2 completely different prospects. Neto is someone who's always direct. He always wants to get at a defender. He's not afraid to do that. He's very young as well. I believe he's 21, 22.
Yeah.
He's 20 actually. He's 20. So he's very plenty. He's got a lot of time on his hands to make improvements, and he's already shining in the Premier League. He's back. He's not been here very long. He's been here for a whole season and a bit now. He came last year from Portugal. And he's literally been learning the league as the years gone on. He's now becoming a really important player for Wolves. So he's a man I want to keep an eye on. Podence we can't ignore either because he's taken that Diogo Jota role very, very well, and he's become so important for United for Wolves. So I think we need to keep an eye on those two on Tuesday. Ryan Nouri is a surprise this season because he was targeted by United, ironic from Angers. That will tick your memory. Now, they wear the same colours as
I do remember.
they wear the same colours as these in France. He was seen as one of the new up-and-coming stars from left back, and he has literally become probably one of Wolves' most important players. How important? You'll find out when we play him. But he's got a lot of skill. He is very good with the ball close to his feet. I find him to be a very threatening prospect. So you've got to keep an eye out for him as well. Because as we mentioned, pace down the wings is what they have. Minus Adama Traore, who obviously him on his own he can run a whole game if he wants to. Them two will be the direct options for them to attack from because Neves and Mutia will just feed balls and they'll do their best to get them into the spaces for the attacking players to get into. They are, I think, a bit top heavy with the attack wise because of how much they commit going forward. Ruben Neves, we talk too much about the man. Poor fellow needs to would be left there on some days, but he will be important for Wolves. I think he needs to be shut out the game as much as possible. But as long as you don't let the ball get to the outside of the box and he's there, we'll be fine. Big game though. Huge match for us. We've got to shut out the Wolves team who we've been we really have a bad record against them, and it's not going to get any better for us if we don't pick up a result.
Just anything but a draw for me. Sorry to interrupt you, but just anything from a draw. Just because those like that time last season when we seemed to be playing them all the time, and it was just consistent draws. I think we picked up like a 1-1 win, which to be fair, I can see as
that was in the FA Cup though, which doesn't count because we were forced to replay last season after drawing 0-0 at Molineux, and then came back to Old Trafford and beat them 1-0 through Ryan Mata. So that particular game was kind of moot because we were forced to play them again. But in the sense of like what Mehdi was saying is like being a 2-1 or a 1-0, like a tight game where there's not a lot of goals, because I think both defenses, because they know because I think both teams at the minute are quite top heavy. They will try and sit back or use a formation like a 4-1-2-1-2 or maybe a 3 at the back to kind of like control the attacking play and the pace in particular of both sides. So I can see that definitely. Yeah, we've played them 12 times. We have won more games than them, but it's not by much. 5 to their 3 with 4 draws. From my youth, I remember many moons ago, we lost to Wolves away from home. In fact, here's a frustrating thing. Remember when Man United on a title-winning run in 2010-11 had a 28-match unbeaten run?
I remember this game. I'm so upset.
Of all people, I think it was Kevin Doyle that day that scored the winner. It plays fresh on my mind, but he did that day cause us a lot of problems, and I have never forgiven him for that, to be honest. But since then, we haven't lost to Wolves. We hadn't lost to Wolves until we met them in the FA Cup. When we had that horrible night in the quarterfinal, but missing out by 2-1. We should have made Wembley that night. We then lost to them again in a few weeks later in the league by the same scoreline. Those who remember Phil Jones' face when the second goal went in. Good, enjoy your nightmares.
Was that the one where Victor Lindelof got sent off as well? I think that one.
Ashley Young was sent off.
Ashley Young, my apologies.
They were both sent off in that game in the separate matches. I think it was Young in the league game and Lindelof in the cup tie.
Yeah.
But then Lindelof's match, Lindelof was rescinded because of some shenanigans with VAR.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
Shenanigans with VAR. So we've had our battles with Wolves, but Oli hates them. I think he wished that he doesn't want to see. He would love to see the back of them in terms of meetings against them because he's yet to win in the league against Wolves. So this is attempt number 4, I believe, or number 4 and number 5 against Wolves. Just double check that I'm not getting this wrong. Yeah, this will be attempt number 4 against Wolves in the league because he's only met them 3 times before, and it's not the most ideal scenarios. Each of them have ended either in a draw or the one defeat, which was the 2-1 in April 2019. So must win. We have Aston Villa next week as well, and as always, we've got to look forward to hopefully getting 6 points at least in that next 2 games. With Aston Villa also winning against Crystal Palace as well, so that's looking a bit ropes over there. But before we sign off, guys, man of the match, it's a shoo-in, I think. I don't think we really need to debate this unless you think someone else deserves it.
No, I mean, for me, Manchester United has to be Bruno Fernandes. A goal and assist again, 31 goal contributions now in 28 games is just sublime. He is literally Manchester United's talisman. And I mean, if we're going to give a man of the match to the other opposition, Leicester, because obviously it was a draw, which I think you can do that. For me, I'd probably say Wesley Fofana. For majority of the game, because we really should have won this game, as we said, we missed plenty of chances. He was absolutely superb. There was one situation as well where Daniel James was running through, I think after the corner, and Wesley Fofana just completely came in and closed him down superbly, and I was just like, what a player! I wish Manchester United would have signed him for us, because he probably would have solved our defensive problems. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes for Manchester United and Wesley Fofana for Leicester City.
Okay, you guys, do you have any suggestions for you?
I'd actually probably give it to Fred. I think he was the engine in midfield. He was absolutely running everywhere. Sometimes it was left wing, right wing, playing as a first centre back. He was absolutely everywhere. But it's hard to disagree. Bruno, obviously, goal and assist. He played well, but I think sometimes he does this in games. Like, his decision making is not good at times. And like today, it did cost us. Yeah, McTominay was at fault as well. But I think if his decision making improves, then he could be proper one of the best centre mids or centre attacking mids in the world. But I'd probably give it to Fred today.
Yeah,
okay.
That's fair enough.
Des, how about you?
Oh, he's on mute. Des, you're on mute. You're on mute, my friend.
I have no power. They chose to mute themselves.
Yeah, I think honestly, Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, I have to agree with Noah. He's been the best player since he came to the Premier League. So many fans, rival fans are not seeing that. He's a top class player. Yeah, he's world class, to be very honest. And we've seen him dog United out of terrible situations time after time again. I mean, the assist he got today, for most players, that would have not been an assist, but he just chucked his leg in there, and somehow it fell into the legs of Rashford and it's a goal. Everything he touches turns to gold, and yeah, definitely Bruno Fernandes.
I mean, some honourable mentions. Despite his many missed chances, Rashford should get one for that because he got the goal, and it's good for his confidence. Hopefully, it will encourage him to take more chances. But he gets a shout out for Fred as well. He was excellent at points in the game.
Luke Shaw too. Luke Shaw, I think, actually had quite a good game. Yeah,
we can't ignore that. I think he's trying his best to keep Alex Telles out of the team. That's how well he's playing, and he's probably incensed every time he sees Telles.
That's the effect of signing top class players. You've seen how Telles
healthy competition, exactly.
Very healthy competition.
Yeah,
it's encouraging him. I think he needs to keep that up, because if he wants to be taken off the scapegoat board and put into the good books, he's got to perform more like that in games. And I don't blame him for the second goal, but he had that one moment where I wish he could have just put a foot in. But nevertheless,
quick one. Marcus Rashford didn't just score his 50th goal. I think he scored his 80th Manchester United goal today too.
Yeah, big 80 for him.
Shy of a century of Manchester United.
Yeah, brilliant. Very good, and hopefully he can keep that up. But I'll do one for each, because Leicester do deserve some credit today. They played very well, and they are showing why they are a team that we cannot ignore when it comes to challenging for not only where we are in the top 4 at the moment, but if we are to challenge for better than that in the future, they're demonstrating that. So for us, Fernandes will get the shout for me. Goal and assist. Probably the best number 10 in the world right now. I don't want to hear it from anybody else, to be honest. There's a Belgian guy who does it across the pond who thinks he's doing but not a chance in hell is he having as good a form as our Portuguese Magnifico. But for Leicester, Fofana, a big shout out to him. I did sign him up before the game. I think he's somebody who will be a massive threat in ever any to deal with me. But he's 20. The guy's still got years ahead of him, and he's got bags of potential. I feel like he will turn into a top-class defender very, very, very soon. Yuri Tielemans was excellent today. Maddison as well. Harvey Barnes got a goal, but I'm torn between Maddison and Tielemans. They both had some integral role to Leicester's attack.
Tielemans definitely.
But you know what? Yeah, I'll give it to him because I rate him for Belgium. I
want to just ask the question. Who is the director of football at Leicester? Because we've seen how they consistently, get shrewd signings and they come to the Premier League and they perform very well. Telemans, Dennis Pratt, Madison, now Fofana. I mean, they really.
From what I know of regarding Leicester's board, they don't have necessarily. I don't know if they have a recruitment director who acts a bit like a DOF. His name escapes me, but the owner, who is obviously the owner, who's the son of the late owner of Leicester, a very long name, and I wish I could pronounce it. But Top is his name, as I remember. Top is the CEO of the club now and the chairman. So he will consult the playing staff and the backroom staff and the board to see who they will identify in meetings during the season. So if they wanted to go and get someone in January, for example, they would have meetings like this right now at the end of the matches, just to see we need to plug some holes. If the manager asks for it, then the scouts will go and look for someone who they think is top quality. Because I think Leicester's recruitment has been absolutely exceptional the last 18 months. They've brought We've just noticed you spoke for a whole minute and no one heard what you said, Noah.
Oh my! I've just realized. I was just saying I completely agree with the point, and as we saw today, Fofana and Tielemans were just top. So yeah. And I was also saying with Mahrez and Kante as well when they
look, I would love.
I just confirmed his name is John Rodkin. He's
John
an Englishman.
Yes, I know who he is now.
He's the sporting director of Leicester. Yeah.
I ran into him at working at another game one day, and he's a very good guy, but he's, I think, one of the more he doesn't want to be in the public light the way Ed Woodward is, or like Ralph Rangnick was at RB Leipzig, or Paul Mitchell. Those top recruiters who are out in
that's why he knows what he's doing. I mean, the top guys.
If you don't make yourself too open or too public and get all your job behind the scenes, you will find
actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. Everyone is loud and is empty.
Absolutely. Can't disagree with that whatsoever. So, but yeah, props to Leicester. Well, a good game there against us today. 2-2 final score. Pleasure with you guys. Absolutely fantastic to have you all on, Mehdi, especially you for joining us for the first time today. I hope we can hope to bring you back in the future. But that's it from us. Hopefully you will stuck with us through the hour. But if you have, hopefully you can give us a bit of love, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on the Twitter as well. But until the next one, I hope to see you all very, very soon. Thanks again to the boys, and I hope to see you on Tuesday, hopefully. Until then, hopefully have a great Christmas, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right,
Merry Christmas.